Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. It's Glenn Dietzel here, and I want to officially welcome you to yet another edition, if you will, of our Google Hangouts. We remain open or available, or we have the opportunity of providing these for free to you, thanks to our sponsor, which is Lifestyle Entrepreneur Magazine. And our December issue is just about to come out. And on there, you can see here, we're featuring Shelley Hunt, Gary Spire. Gary came to the Canadian Lake Home. Trusta Loving. Trust is coming to the Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home next Monday. And also we have Dennis Roberts. And you are in for a treat with the content and the specific advice that is in our, not only our November issue and each issue, but also in our December issue of Lifestyle Entrepreneur Magazine. So if you are new to our Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts and you're coming to us from the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Magazine, then I want to officially welcome you to our training today. And let me just grab one thing here. There we go. I want to make sure that we've got all of our attention, my door shut here in our international office here today. So I want to speak to you directly on, and everything I provide to you is specific advice around building a world-class coaching, consulting, and training company. And what I teach you here on our training events, or the experts that I feature, like I did last week, and the clients that I bring on to show you how they've appropriated the specific skills and utilized the systems, not only of accelerated teaching and learning, but accelerated business execution, so that you can learn. And that's what it's all about today. I really believe that modeling is the number one way that we learn. Modeling is the number one way that we learn. And many of you that are watching us are clients of Awakened, and I'm humbled by that. Many of you have come to us from all different avenues, and many of you have come directly from Lifestyle Entrepreneur Magazine. And the growth of our magazine even astounds me on how quickly the magazine has gained traction over the last year. So we're excited about our December issue, and all of the mentors in the magazine are vetted by our company directly. We have a two-step vetting process just to ensure that we have experienced entrepreneurs who are providing and who resonate very specifically with the advisory age in which we live, the recommendation age. And this is an age in which you need to spell out very specifically the problems, especially in a way that your competitors aren't spelling them out, and in a way that really gives your potential candidates for your own programs aha moments, and at the same time, providing very specific advice. This is an advice-based era, not an information-based era anymore. Information, we're an overabundance of information, and I think you would agree, right? Online, you can just about find anything. Today's marketplace, and today, if you really want to grow a world-class coaching, consulting, and training company that positions you as the leader in your industry, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today, how to keep your coaching business positioned as the leader. Now, I know, and based on some comments from some of you, that you're new to the coaching, consulting, and training world, and this training is for you, because half of you that are listening and watching and appropriating the specific advice that I'm providing you, and that are coming into the Canadian Lake Home so you can learn at even a more accelerated rate, are understanding more than ever that you've got to have some specific systems that allow you to quickly stand apart from all the noise in your industry. And there's a lot of noise, right? I can, all we need to do to collectively here is I could go to Amazon right now. I could bring some of you on and ask you, what keyword phrase does your ideal clients search for when they're looking for information on Amazon? And we could quickly do a search and take a look at just how many competitors you have in your industry. And it's probably well into the tens of thousands of competitors today. And the sad news is that the amount of competition is increasing at an accelerated rate. And so I can't stress to you enough that everything that you do, you must position yourself at the forefront of what's going on. And you've got to be aware that it's not good enough to compete anymore. You've got to absolutely want to dominate your industry. So let's take a look. I'm going to provide you five specific systems that you should have to lead your industry. And then I'm going to finish off today's training with speaking about 7 specific coaching processes that you absolutely want to have within your business, whether you're starting up from scratch or whether you are an experienced coach, consultant, or trainer. The question I want to ask you right now to set the tone for today's training is this. Is it easier to hit a sedentary or moving target? Is it easier to hit a sedentary or a moving target? Okay, that's our question that I want to nurse with you and help nurture that question and provide some specific advice, because I think we would all agree, right, that hitting a moving target is a lot more difficult than hitting a sedentary one. And if that is true, then I want you to, over the course of the rest of this day, I want you to evaluate everything that you're doing, everything that you think might bring you success, everything that you think might allow you to break free from the system that you've created in business that's literally holding you hostage to commanding maximum fees and royalties right now. So in order to act smarter, we need to think more intelligently. All right. In order to act smarter, and that's everything comes down to acting smarter, the way in which you're going to execute, in the way that you're going to think about how you're going to execute. All right. So if we take a look at that question, which was somewhat of a rhetorical question, right? However, it's a very powerful question. And it's a question that I ask myself every single day. All right. And it's this question again. Everything that Glenn is doing right here, is it easier to hit a sedentary or moving target? In other words, do I have momentum? And am I creating momentum? And is every action step that I am taking translating into momentum for my company and for myself? And if it's not, I get rid of it. So I want you to aggressively analyze the level of focus and the level of execution that you are taking or that you are focusing on and doing today. In fact, if I take a look, if we look at this right now, right here, does this allow you right now, just looking at this, be honest, is this, you know, this is somebody's coaching model here, and I won't quote any names. I'm not here to diss anybody. In fact, I don't even really know who my top competitors are anymore because we're just too busy leading. And that's what I want you to do. But at some point, if you're just starting out or if you're taking an honest look at what you're doing, you're going to have to start, you know, looking at the lay of the land. And this model right here, is this bringing you into a position of momentum? Is this allowing you to be the moving target? Or just looking at this, is this positioning yourself and your company in a sedentary mode? Okay. Or here's somebody else's model that I saw. All right. And we could just go through tons of them. All right. So I want us all to just analyze how we focus and how we execute. Because if you want true business acceleration, you're going to want to evaluate how you focus and how you execute. And I am excited about Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home, our one-day business acceleration intensive, our next one on December the 8th. Why? Because I'm going to be focusing very specifically on the entire day on how I focus and how I execute. And everybody coming away from there is going to walk away with all kinds of goodies, systems, blueprints, tools on how I close deals, and are going to have access to the very same systems that my clients use. And I'm excited about it because my goal is to help you close deals. And the problem is in 30 minutes, we are, what I cover here is so important. But the truth of the matter is we need to create even longer periods of focus. Remember one of our speed to market principles, he or she who self-reflects the greatest controls marketplaces. He or she who self-reflects the greatest controls marketplaces. And quite often, it will take a full day, a business intensive, a day of just focusing on your company in a way that you're not focusing and you're not executing right now, right? Because if you want to hit a new paradigm around execution and focus, you've got to get rid of the stumbling blocks. So let's get rid of the stumbling blocks. Let's get rid of the frustration that's holding you hostage right now to commanding maximum fees and royalties. And so the first action step, 5 critical action steps. And the first one is absolutely stay away from low-end activities. Stay away from low-end activities. Low-end activities, anything that provides you sedentary positioning. Or as we started off, is it easier to hit a sedentary object, or is it harder to hit a moving object? You've got to be a moving object. When your potential candidates are being vetted by you, and you hear me very carefully, that means you've got to have a vetting process. That means that you've got to know how to take education-based selling. We've talked a lot about that off and on this year. And value-based selling, and I've given you all the different concepts and the specific formula that we use, and integrate education-based selling and value-based selling to allow you to and position you away from low-end activities. So I want you to evaluate, this week and what you did last week. And now many of you probably didn't do too much because you were busy traveling. Our international office is from Canada. We had our Canadian Thanksgiving 6 weeks ago. So we were enjoying last week along with our American friends. However, if you look at your activities last week, maybe they were interrupted, right, for Thanksgiving. But I want you to just take a look at a normal week. What are you working on? What are you focusing on? And when I say working on, you're probably working a lot harder than you want. And you're probably, if you're honest with yourself, working a lot harder than you were 6 months ago or a year ago. Why? Because the marketplace has changed fundamentally in the last 3-4 months again, to the point today where as those of you that are coming into the one-day business acceleration intensive, my bold prediction is there is virtually no chance of you making it online today unless you know how to position yourself at the forefront of an industry and focus on the 7 critical processes for you as a leader in coaching, consulting, and training that we're going to cover here in just a couple of moments. I want to refer to a book, and a pretty cool book. It's called Rookie Smarts by Liz Wiseman. Rookie Smarts by Liz Wiseman. And she, in her book, starts with this question here, which I think is a really good question. When is not knowing more valuable than knowing? When is not knowing more valuable than knowing? And that is a great question. Why? Because it's a question that I've alluded to all the time. It's one of my principles in true business acceleration, the fact that we work with probably 50% startups or 40% startups, I would say right now, 60% experienced entrepreneurs. And as I tell everybody who is vetted successfully by me and by our company, and I vet everybody for our Omega Mind programs and our high-end Inner Circle and our stealth coaching and consulting programs. But everybody's vetted by 5 specific criteria. And we're not here to talk about a vetting process, about how to create an executive summary, and all of those crucial aspects to your business. But I do want to allude to a question that Liz Wiseman brings up. And again, the question was, when is not knowing more valuable than knowing? And in working with both startups and experienced entrepreneurs, I have the basic presupposition in business that somebody in startup mode is almost in a better position than an experienced entrepreneur. Why? And this is Liz Wiseman's point. When you're experienced at anything, you quickly, have a paradigm of what to do, what not to do. And as soon as you come up with you're faced with a problem, and especially if you want to continuously, create that kind of moving target in your industry, you're going to have to constantly be at the forefront of what's going on, which means you've got to be able to get out in front. And the notion that I teach that's tied to the question that Liz asks at the beginning of her book is that I really believe that startup entrepreneurs are almost in a better position than experienced entrepreneurs. Why? Because they have the ability to see something that's not constrained by previous ways of doing things or education or being in an industry for a period of time where you start building, blinders around how to see or how to see something differently. And so she has a concept here in her book, and I've drawn it out for you. So I love to teach by diagrams. So when I read or when I learn something, I always like to diagram it out. Why? Because as I teach my clients and some of the trainings that I've showed you on how to diagram your competitive advantage, it's how your potential candidates for your programs remember and see things. All right. So you want to start, you want to use fewer words and you want to use more powerful word pictures and diagramming out your competitive advantage. So if I summarize what Liz talks about in her book, I've drawn this diagram right here. Okay. She talks about the steep edge. Okay. Now this is my own diagram based on what I have taken from her book. And she talks about the time versus the learning curve. And she says that, in order for startups and anybody new to doing something new, they should be faced with a steep learning curve. So I drew the steep learning curve as opposed to a linear learning curve that doesn't compel somebody to think, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this. This right here, a linear graph, in anything that we do is the safe way of doing something, right? We're going to do something and over time, we're just going to kind of incrementally increase as opposed to geometrically increasing what it is that we want to accomplish. And so I'm going to argue right here, along with Liz, that in order to truly lead your industry, you've got to realize that you are on a steep edge. And if you're not positioning yourself right now in pushing yourself to accomplish things that you don't think are accomplishable, you're not living at a steep edge. And you are going to continuously do this. And this is the line right here today to mediocrity, and the line of being a slow fish as opposed to a fast fish in today's marketplace. And you remember our concept, right? It's not the big that eat the small anymore. It's the fast that consume the slow. Fast that consume the slow. And so you've got to, and I want to encourage all of you to dream big and to set some aggressive goals and be close to the source of momentum. You've got to be a moving object. So you've got to be close to mentors who are moving objects, who are not sedentary objects. You see, you become who you hang out with, right? And if you're involved in a system with lots of friction, like most of the so-called expert guru models today, there's a ton of friction there. And I showed you what some of that friction looks like, right? In the first two screens that I showed you. Convoluted business funnels, being dependent on copywriters, putting together time-consuming reports, books, low-end products and services, not knowing how to position yourself at the forefront of the industry. So that is, by doing what most experts and gurus teach, you're not creating a steep edge for your accountability and for what you want to accomplish. So you've got to be confronted with a steep learning curve, okay? That is absolutely crucial. So I want to encourage all of you to analyze any activity, any level of focus right now that's along the red line, the linear line. I call it the line of mediocrity. And be willing to say, you know what, in order to dominate, because competing is not enough anymore. And I've given you 7, on a previous Google Hangout a few weeks ago, we covered 7 critical mistakes that coaches are making right now in today's marketplace. And you've got to live, if you will, on the edge. Okay. Who was it that said, I'm a donkey on the edge? I think Shrek, the donkey in Shrek. So we gotta be comfortable living on the edge. Is it scary? Absolutely. Is it crucial to your success? I can't stress to you enough that it is. All right. So please understand that. Our second actionable step then is creating the right kind of programs no one else has. Creating the right kind. So there's got to be a specific genre of program that no one else has in your industry. All right. And this is crucial. You know, we've talked about on previous Google Hangouts the importance of having accelerated macro business systems and accelerated micro business systems. All right. And I want to just, talk to you just for a couple of moments here about the importance of, right here, we just talked about creating the right kind of programs that no one else has. What we're talking about here is being the perceived leader in your industry, and everything is about perception. And you've got to, because the reality is that there are so many experts. Just go to Amazon to see how many there are. And it's amazing how many experts I see that are struggling today. In fact, it's scary. And as I mentioned at newgurumodel.com, and you've clicked the Start Here button, I present to you some serious warning signals that quick implementers, decisive decision makers, and people that are want to create quantum leaps of growth in their own business, you absolutely need to understand. And you've got to get out of this paradigm of holding yourself hostage to doing what everybody else does. All right. So you're going to want to have, it's crucial to have an entrepreneurial certification program within your company. You see, with so many people having books today, it's so easy to get published. And I'll tell you that because as a leader in the publishing industry, that was our claim to fame 12 years ago with an ebook program that got us recognized by Adobe to being the CEO or the editor-in-chief of Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine. That we help a lot of people get published. But as important as that is, the real attraction that we have, and we have so much, is around people that just want our systems and use them. So I give them our systems to use, and they can use them as templates as they're building out their own specific business processes that they need within their own company to close and pitch deals. And so you've got to have an entrepreneurial certification program. I can't underscore that. And it doesn't have to be hard when you are close to the source of momentum and align yourself with somebody that can help you create that. So you become the de facto standard of your industry. And with so many people that have books, how do you trump somebody that has a book? Well, you communicate in a way that trumps the expert. And how do you do that? With a certification program. A certification program, if your company has that, and whether you're startup mode, it's all the more important that you need to realize this. And if you're a serious entrepreneur with a coaching, consulting, training business already, you definitely need to create another division within your company or a separate entity where you begin to set the rules in your industry. And that will allow you, done properly, and this is what we teach, how to do this. One of the systems among hundreds that I teach at our one-day business acceleration intensives of then how to put together a private white label coaching program or a co-branding program that allows you to get into hundreds of industries so quickly and really create some really cool royalties for your business. I woke up today, December the 1st, with a whole bunch of emails that came through on just royalty checks, all because I know how to take what's up here and what I've learned here, and integrate that into some pretty cool training systems that allows serious coaches, consultants, and trainers to want to co-brand because it's advantageous to them. So they win, I win, everybody wins. I help them close deals a lot faster. They get to use our systems that I've delineated within an agreement, and they are a lot more powerful with a lot more credibility and authority. And I can't reach those people that they're reaching, and they're more powerful now to attract those kind of clients. I get a piece of the action. Wouldn't you love to be in the same situation? You see, that's what I call an ROIT business, return on invested time. So those are just two of the macro types of business systems that you absolutely must have. Thirdly, you must have exclusive high-touch events. You must have exclusive high-touch events. In fact, let's underscore here the word exclusive. And one of the best things that I've ever done was launch our Omega Mind program that literally allows me to work and allows all of our Omega Mind clients to support each other in closing deals. And at the end of the day, understanding how to close a deal and then scaling the size and number of that is fundamentally what business is all about. So you don't need to complicate business, okay? Business is about sealing a deal, i.e. a profitable transaction, and then increasing the size and number of those transactions. And in order to stand apart in today's marketplace, you want to get away from doing seminars, events, conferences. Everybody else does those, and most of them are all struggling today. And you want to do something completely different. And that is our intensive approach, done in very novel and different locations that allow, for example, all those that come to the Canadian Lake Home to learn in an accelerated way and in a way that really engages them at the highest level of emotional focus and execution. And I can't tell you how quickly lives and businesses are changed. In fact, let's go back here just for a sec. And one of our principles, as you will see here, is involving your clients in your programs and your systems. This is a recent 3-day Omega Mind intensive with some of my clients at the Canadian Lake Home. And the tree here is a 12-foot Christmas tree that those of you that are coming into our December 8th will be still here because the Christmas season still hasn't arrived. And having really novel high-end intensives is crucial to really leveraging the advisory era in which we live, or the recommendation age. Okay, and this is an example here of Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home, and you might have seen some information about that. All right, and I can't share with you enough, in the advisory age and the recommendation age in which we live, this is about not educating the masses. This is about educating your ideal candidates to participate in a vetting process that you create and that you control in terms of bringing and vetting the right kind of candidates for your programs. Okay, I trust you're following me. You're getting this, right? You've got to stand out. You've got to be different. You can't be doing what your competitors are doing. In saying that, I want you to be fanatical about collecting the right data for your company. Be fanatical about collecting the right data for your company. The right data. Now, you might be saying, Glenn, what do you mean by the right data? That's a really good question. Fundamentally, in business, there's only 3 types of data that you really want to focus on. Now, you let your accountants focus on all the other variables, right? Like cash flow statements, balance sheets, and all of that. But in business and in true business acceleration, you want to stay away from, as important as data, product data is to your company. And we could spend a lot of time talking about product data, but we're not going to be doing that today. even more important than product data is problem data. So you want to start by building a better problem before you start by building a better mousetrap, right? You might have heard me say that before. You've got to build a problem, and you've got to build a problem so instead of it looking like this, it looks like this. And instead of maybe being right here and almost, overlapping the way that your competitors are positioning, you've got to position yourself differently in order to get your target market to see the problem in a way that is not going to make you irrelevant or obsolete. You see, if you spend time presenting the problem in the same way that your competitors are doing, your potential candidates for your programs automatically see you as irrelevant. They see you as dispensable. And here's the thing, in an overcrowded marketplace, and hence the reason why the advisory age is so built on the importance of educating your target market in a way that your competitors aren't. And so I want you to see that each of these 5 critical actionable steps are crucial and are built on each other. So you want to focus on building a better problem. You want to make the problem bigger, and you want to present it in a different way than what your competitors do. All right. And secondly, as you're building a problem, you want to leverage marketing feedback data. Now, I've got tools and systems that I'm going to be sharing with our one-day attendees that are coming into the Canadian Lake Home on how to build the kind of marketing feedback data that you absolutely need to build in the fastest way possible that builds a true competitive advantage in the marketplace. And one of the best ways of creating data is to, number 5, always be assessing. Always be assessing. In fact, let's underscore assessing. In the advisory age and the recommendation age, everything today, and just like we cover in New Guru Model Free Report, number 5 is you've got to know how to assess your marketplace. And you got to know how to assess your marketplace around three critical ways. We don't have time today to, talk about different assessment instruments and how to use them. And that should be the very first product you ever create is an assessment tool that allows you to close deals. All right. And so number 1, you want to assess your marketplace to educate your ideal clients on what your competitors fail to do. All right. So you want to hit that gap in the marketplace and nail it. All right. Secondly, in assessing and everything that you do with assessing, because this is the advisory age and the recommendation age, we don't live in the information age anymore. So you've got to have tools that resonate with the advisory age, that leverage your company's intellectual property, your company's IP. 2, you want to help them see a bigger problem. Okay? A bigger problem is crucial, just like we talked about. And thirdly, you want to educate them on your ROI. You want to educate your potential candidates on your ROI through assessments. All right? And everything today, especially in the advisory age, in the age in which so many people seem to be so jaded and cynical, it shocks even me. I've been in this industry now for 12 years. That you've got to know how to educate your marketplace in a way that builds for them, again, ROI, return on investment. And you've got to have a business that provides for you ROIT, return on invested time. So let's cover. So those are the 5 critical actionable steps that I believe that it's absolutely crucial for today's coaching leaders, consulting leaders, etc., to position themselves at the forefront of what's going on, or how to keep your coaching business positioned as the leader. So what I like to do right now is to cover with you 7 coaching processes that I think you need to master. And I can't underscore, again, the importance of learning a new set of specialized skills or core competencies, specialized skills that you are not spending nearly enough time on right now mastering. That's why I want you to, again, start by, evaluating what you're focusing on and what you're executing on in business every day. So the first item that you want to address as a coaching, consulting, or training leader is how to speak and message what you do across different platforms. So you've got to know how to speak. That's crucial. And you've got to know how to message. And I spent an enormous amount of time over our one-day business acceleration intensive with my clients, teaching them how to speak and message what they do to close deals across one-on-one, over a cup of coffee, on the phone, on private Google Hangouts, Skype training events, webinars, etc. It's crucial. And by the way, I haven't used a webinar in so long. Anybody that tells you need webinars today, I just think they're just misguided. And I think there's a lot better ways of disseminating your advice that allow you the position of trusted advisor within your marketplace. Okay. Next, how to create an effective keynote. How to create an effective keynote. Today's marketplace is knowing how to command authority and credibility away from what your competitors are doing. And, knowing how to leverage a keynote presentation that allows you to close multi-millions of dollars of deals. And I know, when I say that for startups, it's like, what are you talking about, Glenn? I can never do that. And what do we talk about at the beginning? Remember, we talked about the curve, the learning curve by Liz Wiseman. She didn't draw this. I drew this out for you. Understand, you've got to be on this line right here of acceleration as opposed to the linear line. You've got to position yourself right now in your mind in what you're going to focus on and do at the steep edge of a learning curve. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to do what you've always been doing. And if you evaluate what that's done for you over the last week, the last month, we don't have to go further than that. You're going to see that you're probably in some serious doo-doo. So we want to get out of that. Next, second key coaching actionable step is focusing on accelerated teaching and learning processes. Okay, that's crucial. You've got to have accelerated teaching in the way that you educate your potential candidates, and you also need to know how to learn at a faster rate. And that's one of the systems that we cover and how to do this at the Canadian Lake Home, because I really believe that for me to teach that, I've got to model it, and I've got a very cool way of teaching everybody how to leverage accelerated teaching and learning by getting a chance to model exactly what I'm doing. And that's why experientially coming to the Canadian Lake Home, for example, is crucial. Next, you must master high-end deals. Okay, that's, in today's marketplace, you got to have high-end deals, and you got to know how to pitch them. So you've got to have systems of pitching your high-end deals. And it is, there's several experts today, like New York Times bestselling authors Marcus Buckingham and Kirk Kaufman, that say in order for entrepreneurs to survive today, you've got to have high-end programs and services. And you got to know how to involve your clients in the marketing of your programs and services. And that's what we teach. And that's what we've been teaching for the last 12 years. Next, you've got to be able to involve then your clients in your marketing. Okay, that is crucial, that they are part of the educational process on how you bring potential candidates through your educational systems to vet them for your programs. In order to do that, then you've got to master assessing inside of a consultative process. So everything that you do should be generated, all your activities around assessing inside of a consultative process. All right, you following me? Are you getting this? Next, then you need accelerated business systems and a way that really focuses on deal closure. Okay, and I'm going to give you a tool here as a summary. So those are the 7 systems that I believe that you need. And it was Albert E.N. Gray. There's Albert E.N. Gray in his research that he did on what type of practice produces peak performance. He says this: All right, as a way of kind of bringing to conclusion, and I got a free tool here for you that I think you're going to want to leverage deal closure. People form habits, habits form futures. People form habits, habits form futures. Okay, I want to expand upon that to kind of bring to conclusion what we've been talking about not being a sedentary target, but being a moving target. When you're a moving target, it's harder for people to catch you, right? And they can't really peg anything on you because you're constantly moving. And they don't ever really know how to take away your competitive advantage because you're constantly moving. So again, please analyze how you're focusing and what you're focusing on. But if we take the quote by Ian Gray, and this is how I've expanded upon it. Purpose drives behaviors. Repetition of behaviors seed habits, and habits form futures. All right. So we want to get purposeful. We want to live on that steep edge. Okay. In order to be totally alive, you got to feel a little bit of fear and trepidation. And that's going to guide new behaviors. And then we want to repeat a series of new behaviors that seed habits. New habits are then going to form your futures. All right. Now, I want to help you seed habits, purpose, and habits, and new behaviors, and make those habits that you just focus on over and over and over again. And if you would like a tool that all of my clients use to close deals, that kind of keeps tracks their deal closure, and there's a point system to it, so you can kind of get an idea of what activities you should be focusing on based on the point system that I've allocated. It's a really cool way of stepping up your level of focus and execution and getting into and understanding why our one-day business acceleration intensives are so powerful, and why clients are lining up that want to be a part of Omega Mind. You can get the tool for free. Our what's it called again? Accountability transaction form. And all you need to do is text the word DEAL, deal. Text the word deal to 1-248-469-4376. So text the word deal, DEAL, to 1-248-469-4376. And you can get the accountability transaction form that will allow you to start tracking your deals with a point system associated with it. So you can start seeing how I see a deal from start to end, and where you should be aligning your focus, and what that is worth to you in terms of attention, and the kind of details, all of that. That's training that we do in other situations and settings. But it gives you a big picture view of where to provide and where to focus your attention. All right. So please use the concepts that we covered today around how to keep your coaching business positioned as the leader. And if there's anything that we can do to be of assistance to you, don't hesitate to phone our international office at 519-542-3043, 519-542-3043. That's the same number that all of our clients phone. And that's our international office here in Canada, eh? And on behalf of the entire Awaken team, I salute you to taking the concepts that we covered today, the 5 critical action steps to positioning your company at the forefront of what's going on in the industry, and the 7 specific coaching processes that you definitely want to attend to immediately to position and really analyze what you're doing and what's going to allow you to command maximum fees and royalties for high-end programs and services. Have a great one. I look forward to our next live Google Hangout together.